Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you. Thank you for joining me for this continuing discussion on 30 reasons for being Muslim. Today, I want to look at the fact that Islamic practices make sense in that they involve both body and soul in a holistic way. This, to me, is an excellent reason for being Muslim, in that by engaging in Islamic practices, we are not sacrificing anything. We are enhancing both our spirituality and our physical fitness. Let's just look around broadly and see where the problem lies. Nowadays, modern Westerners are looking around the globe for practices that will probably help them out of their state of seeking something. They feel that they were at a loss for something. Maybe after achieving wealth and fame and position and all of that and status in society, they're still lacking some spirituality. Something is missing. And many may turn to Eastern practices, such as, for example, yoga and Eastern meditation, in order to enhance that spirituality and feel that, something that will fill that void for them. But when we look at yogic practices, we see that a lot of these practices may involve sitting for long periods of time and meditating. So the meditation may be a good way of enhancing one's spirituality. But at the same time, what does that do for the body if we're sitting around for a long time? Even some modern worship practices may involve largely sitting and listening to lecturers or listening to the preacher. And then maybe at certain moments in time, the worshipers will stand all together and sing a song of praise of God or something of this nature. So in that case, they do get some movement, but mostly they're sitting. What does that do for the body again? So is there a way that we can have both at the same time, both the spiritual enhancement and the physical fitness going together? Well, we see an excellent combination of these two aspects in the Muslim practices. Let's take, for example, the Muslim prayer, the 5 times per day. What is called the salat for Muslims. It involves a number of cycles of the prayer, and each cycle would involve constant movement from one posture to another. So there is the standing, then there is the bowing, back to standing, then all the way to prostration, then sitting between prostrations, another prostration, and then all the way back up to standing. And so it goes cycle after cycle. And now, a Muslim going through these motions is actually going through a deep spiritual experience, to be sure. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a prayer. Muslims believe that when they talk to God in this way, God is actually listening acutely, and God is responding to the prayer at every statement. Muslims then are totally engaged. It's a spiritual engagement, to be sure, but also there is a lot of physical activity. And to be clear, this does not mean that this is a substitute for working out in a gym or in your home gym. There are different types of and levels of and intensities of exercise. We grant that. But here, Muslims are getting like a push start into getting off the couch and doing something active. You have to be, on the move. So prayer, the Muslim prayer, is an excellent combination of that spiritual enhancement and also physical fitness. Let's look at fasting. Fasting involves the deprivation of the body of food and drink. And this is a deeply spiritual exercise because while we're fasting, we are getting closer and closer to God. We know that we're doing this only for God. And so we draw close to God, because we're constantly reminded we're hungry, we're thirsty, and we know that we're only bearing this hunger and thirst because we're doing this for the sake of God. And because we're doing this continuously, we draw closer and closer to God. It's a deep spiritual experience. But at the same time, what does it do for the body? Well, first of all, we're pushing the body to its limits. We're here practicing endurance. How far can the body go? Can we be in a survival mode? If we happen to be stranded somewhere, are we going to feel, debilitated because we haven't had anything to eat or drink for a long time? Or are we going to be empowered to go around and look for a solution? Are we going to be active despite the hunger? So the fasting actually trains us to be in a survival mode and to be fit for whatever life may throw at us. But it's also making the physical body fit as well, because while we're fasting, the fat cells are being burnt away as stores of fat are being used up for the needed energy for the day. A Muslim may be working and studying and doing all kinds of regular activities while he or she is fasting. So it's not like the fasting makes us debilitated and we just have to simply have a rest and go to sleep or something like this. No, the fasting actually keeps us active and alert. So we are going through a deep spiritual exercise, and at the same time, we are training our bodies and making our bodies slimmer and fitter and ready for physical work. What about the Hajj? The Hajj involves a lot of walking. And while it is a deep spiritual experience in that we have to constantly remember God at every juncture, the Quran itself says, وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ فِي أَيَّامٍ مَعْدُودَاتٍ. Remember God in the number of days. So throughout the Hajj, we have to remember God at every juncture, but at the same time, it involves a lot of walking. Walking around the Kaaba, the sacred mosque in Mecca, walking and even running between Safa and Marwa, the two mountains near the Kaaba, walking to the place of stoning the Jamarat. All of this involves a lot of walking. And that's a good time to get out your pedometer and find out how many steps you've taken, and you'll be surprised how many steps. But the bottom line is that this involves physical activity, and that makes the Muslims fitter and ready for service. So to me, this is an excellent reason for being Muslim, the fact that Islamic practices combine both spirituality and physical exercise. What does that mean for us in the world? It means that Muslims, by practicing the Islamic faith, become healthier spiritually and more physically fit. And it means also that we are ready for service. We are physically fit and ready to help the world, to serve ourselves, take care of ourselves, and take care of others who may need our service. Thank you for watching, and join me again tomorrow for another good reason for being Muslim.
There are people out there who don't interact with Muslims at all in their day-to-day lives. They learn everything they know about Muslims from TV or social media. Our Muslim Media Hub will reach these people and transform their lives. Support us at QuranSpeaks.com.